Welcome to another episode of CIO Speaks. Today we talk to Lanre Bamisebi, the Group CIO of Equity Bank. Or is it Equity Group Holdings?
Equity Group Holdings.
Yeah, okay. Well, Lanre, welcome to the set.
Thank you very much.
It's nice to officially meet you.
Thank you very much, Carol.
Good. So, when you were growing up, did you want to be a CIO?
I wanted to be a pilot, but at some point I figured I didn't like flying.
Really?
Yeah.
Was this after you'd studied?
No. I figured when I, first got on my first flight as an adult, it was a very turbulent flight. So I felt, I don't think I want to do this. So yeah, at that point I had a change of mind.
Mm. So how long have you been in the tech world?
For as long as I've been able to talk.
Mm-hmm.
So as a child, we all do one or two things with technology, right? So, but in terms of having technology work for other people and do what technology is meant to do for other people, I think about 23 years.
Wow. So, what brought you to Equity?
James Mwangi, actually.
Oh, how did he find you?
I've before Equity, I've worked as CIO for 4 different banks, and so at some point, I got a call, and someone said they wanted to talk to me in a bank in Kenya, and part of the bank I was working for, one of the countries that they have a branch in or a subsidiary in is Kenya, but I never came to the Kenya office. Even though I did all the recruitment for all the staff there. I would do it offline because for me, I was in Lagos back then. So I couldn't understand why I would travel 5 hours to another African country when I can do 5 hours to, somewhere, more interesting for me back then, So I never came to Kenya. So after speaking to them for a while, I was told to just come. It took me about 6 months to make up my mind at some point. So I was told to just come to Kenya, see the environment. So I came and I spent 3 days in Kenya, and the third day I took up the offer.
Okay. So you are not just the CIO, you're also the CEO of FinServe. So
yes, I'm actually the group head of IT and operations. So I manage IT and I manage operations, and of course I'm the MD for FinServe.
So what is the Equity's plan when it comes to fintech in Africa? Because fintech is big.
Well, so first thing is for us at Equity, you notice when I said Equity, I never said Equity Bank.
Yes.
Right. So we've metamorphosed into a tech company with a banking license, investment license, and then also insurance license. So basically, what we just provide is use technology and banking to enrich people's life. And we have two pillars. The social pillar, which is to educate Kenyans and all Africans, and to also take people out of poverty. And the other one is the commercial arm, which is to give SMEs and corporate loans so that they can expand and increase on whatever they do. Yeah, so for us, we are more than a bank. We are more like a lifestyle kind of.
Because I was going to ask if you're a neobank, digital bank, or a fintech.
For Equity?
Yes.
I think we're a composite, so part of what we do as FinServe is like a neobank, but in Equity Bank, we call it like a challenger bank, which is a digital bank, basically. Yeah.
Okay. But FinServe had been separate from Equity. Then it was brought back in-house.
Well, so it's always been, they both have different boards. They both have different, ways of doing things. So for example, the way I'm dressed, it's perfect for Equity. The way you're dressed is perfect for FinServe. So those kind of things, we wanted to be able to merge the two culture. Bankers are more serious people, so fintech people are, they are serious at what they do, but they like to do it with fun. So yeah.
Yes, there was actually a meme going around that if you wanted to end the entire fintech industry of Nairobi, you just go and bomb Mercury on a Friday night.
Exactly. That's how it works. That's how it works.
So how big is your team?
Well, it's the last time I checked, I think we have about 380 developers. just trying to get things across to our customers. In terms of directors, direct reports, I think I have about 6 of them, who are all CIOs, by the way. And overall, I have about 489 staff plus the 300, and so that's give or take about 800. Yeah.
Okay. You just released your investor report.
Yeah.
What was the most striking thing for you in that report?
Well, I think we prepared for it. A lot of people are shocked by the result that we've come out with. And that result, by the way, is 99% increase in P&L, right?
No way.
Profit after tax. That's almost from 20 billion to about 41 billion. So that's huge, for any bank, and that automatically, moved us to be the biggest bank in, Kenya and East Africa. But you see, that's just one of the tiny things that we needed to quickly do, right, so that we can be positioned to do the bigger things that we needed to do as a company.
What are the bigger things?
They continue to evolve. I'm sure if you've heard Dr. James speak, we want to, I've always had the problem, and that's the fact that, when you talk about tech companies, you talk about Google, Apple, you never really think about an African tech company, right? And, we have brain muscles, a lot of them. It might surprise you that part of the development that happens for Facebook, even with their Lyra money that they try to do, is done in like the Kibera of Nigeria, a place called Yaba, right?
No way.
Yeah, it is. Way though. It was done in that place, with those guys, with huge mental power. So we have the brain, right? We have the brain. We have the resources. But, one thing we've always lacked as a country is organization, right? So, you find out individually Africans do great. You have your athlete, the guy that comes to Nigeria and win a marathon year on year.
Yeah.
That's the problem, though. One guy just come to a whole country, 250 million people,
and organizes all of you.
And just make all of you look bad. And you do nothing but just cheer him on. Every year on year, a Kenyan come and win the. So we have individual talent. That's not a problem in Africa. I've had the opportunity to work with 4 billionaires across Africa, and we have capital as well. We have money. But you see, the problem is always the tech and the money. So, for example, you have the richest man in Africa being Dangote. He doesn't really invest so much in tech. He has, tangible organizations like cement factory, oil and gas and all that.
Yeah.
But meanwhile, you find out that, the major players in the US, they are more into intangible assets like, IPs and all that. So I think for the first time, we've been able to get the mix right. We have 300 African developers around the world. We've been able to get CIOs from about 23 different banks across the globe. And we have an organization that has thrived from being what it was, an housing bank to becoming the biggest bank in Kenya. So we have a visionary at the driving hand of equity. And you have, myself, who I like to execute very well, and the 26 CIOs. So I think for once, Africa might be heading to the right direction in terms of, being able to position itself as a digital powerhouse.
Do you usually struggle to find talent?
I get that question all the time. So when I was in all the 4 banks that I worked, when I leave, I have people who will just come and be like, oh, I learnt you're leaving. So where are we going? Right? So getting talent is not a problem. If you have a reputation out there that, you treat people the way they need to be treated, and you work with people in a way that it better, you try find a way to better their lives and livelihood. So I've never had the staff that I had that we're not friends.
Mm-hmm.
You get what I mean? So
Yeah.
for me, it's never a problem. People say it that there's a lot of talent drought in Africa. I don't know where they're looking at.
Mm-hmm.
And also, I never believe that you need to get a talent to Kenya to work in Kenya. So I have staff in Ukraine, I may say, South Africa, Egypt, Algeria. They're working, doing their times while, in the comfort of their homes, and they're still doing and delivering values for equity in Kenya.
Oh God. So I can't imagine this actually happening, but if the budget is cut for you as a CIO, how do you prioritize what you need for the business or
Okay.
what the business needs?
So one mistake people make sometimes is assuming that IT need to prioritize,
Yeah.
right? So IT don't prioritize the business needs. It's like you as a man, you're trying to say you want to prioritize your wife's needs. She understands her needs. She's the one to say, okay, I need A, B, C. Your job as a husband is to facilitate those things, right? So that's what we do as IT. We don't. I won't say to the business, oh, this is how you should prioritize. No, they are the one that did the benefit analysis that says, for me as the head of digital product, I need to do A, B, C so that I can meet my objective. So these are my priorities. Then what I will do is to make sure that your priorities are delivered on time. So IT should never decide. We are very good at innovation. We are very good at developing stuff because that's who we are as technology people. But we shouldn't lead business to make business decisions. That should be a business decision to make.
So what is it that makes a good CIO? Because you're a group CIO, you handle other CIOs. What makes a good one? No, wait, a great one.
A great CIO.
Yes.
One, I think experience comes to bear because when it comes to technology, you can't make impulsive buying or impulsive decision. It might cost you your whole career. I've seen a situation where we had a little problem of a network glitch, and we had tons of customers waiting at the banking hall. Then I was working for the largest bank in Nigeria, and we realized that we had a problem with our network. So I called everybody. I was like, guys, what do we need to do? And the first thing one of my staff said to me, let's turn off, like a layer that protects us from DDoS attack. DDoS is denial of service attack. That once we put it off, we should be fine. And we should just take it off and bring it back up. And it sounded like a good idea. And everybody in the room was like, yeah, I think that's the only thing we've not done. Let's do that and we'll be. And I remember that, I did something like that back when I was running a smaller bank. And it was a disaster, right? So I said to them, you know what, let's think of something else. We're not going to do this. So eventually, like an hour later, we sorted it out, but huge constraint to our customers. So they were like, oh, but why didn't I do that? Then I said to them that they should check the log of the attack that came in about that time. So when they picked it out, we realized that in that instance, when we had that problem, we had over 1,200,000 DDoS attack that was coming into the bank. So if you have taken off that thing, it's like, you've opened up your door, for those, viruses or, DDoS to come in, and we will have been denied service. That means instead of being down for 2 hours, we will have been down for like maybe 3 to 4 days, and we might have to be paying some ransom. So that was not skills, because the guys who are specialists taught otherwise. That is experience. So a great CIO should have a lot of experience. 2, a great CIO should also respect people's view, right? So when I said I gathered everybody into the room, you need to understand their views, because when it comes to technology, the loudest person in the room is not necessarily the most intelligent. Sometimes the people that don't say a word, maybe the young guy that just resumed last week, they might have some things that they are salient. So you need to be able to get information and people to talk. So that's also a very good quality of a good CIO. And I think another one is you should be able to understand that sometimes the business don't know what they need, right? So you guide them to be able to articulate what they need sometimes. And also importantly is teamwork. You work in a team. So it's important that you work, you have teamwork. And, when you have 23, 20, going to 26 CIOs, who were CIOs of their different banks, working in one organization that is trying to build something, very big for Africa, there's a lot of ego. You get what I mean? These are the guys that deal one-on-one with the likes of different vendors and all that. So how do you put them together without the ego, getting on top of each other? So what you do is you become friends with them, and then you treat them with respect, because that's what they've deserved, because they've all earned their stripes as CIOs. So yes, respect is also important. And lastly, which is I think what I feel might be my greatest strength, is integrity. You say what you mean, and you don't make people promises, and don't meet those promises. When I came to the bank, I made certain promises to Dr. James. Good thing is that those promises were to deliver in maybe 4 years, but we're able to deliver most of them between 1.5 years. So you should promise less and deliver
And
more
over-deliver.
as a CIO.
Okay. So, just curious, if Equity got hacked and they asked for ransom, would you advise them to pay or not pay?
Okay, so the first thing is,
Yeah.
my job is to make sure that we are not hacked, right? So, and be as I may be a technical guy, I'm also, spiritual person. So when you say Equity got that word, it might just happen, so we can use another, say for example, Bank A
Yes.
get hacked, right?
Yes.
Would they pay ransom? You see, if you're making that decision at that instance, and as a bank, you have already failed, right? See, because you should have thought through it. It's like saying, if you want to be criminated when you die, you should write it somewhere so that people know that when I die, I should be criminated, right?
Yeah.
Not that you die and people don't know what to do with your body.
Yes.
So when it comes to attack, you need to have policies in place, processes in place, procedures in place, and you follow those procedures. Now, if those procedure is agreed that you pay those ransom, then you do the same, right? If the procedure says you shouldn't pay ransom, then you don't pay ransom. Like, America will tell you they don't pay ransom, but, we all know sometimes they,
They pay.
they do.
Yeah.
So, but the truth is, you need to have policies, right? So if you don't have anything and you're all reactive when you have a problem, then you're not worth to sit on the seat that you sat.
Okay. So what would be some of the failures that you've experienced that you learned from?
Jeez. So like I said, I've worked in 4 banks as CIO, and the least I've done in any one of them is 3 years. In one of them I did 9 years. So I've made a lot of mistakes, and I think those mistakes are that brought me to where I am right now. So I made cheap mistakes, right? So, so I made some of those mistakes when I was early in my career, when you make a decision to buy or to build, and but nowadays, honestly, I rarely make mistakes because I've made a lot of mistakes in the past. But looking back, some of the mistakes that I made, I think I've had instances where I let some very good people go. Right, like someone will just tell you, oh, by the way, I got a job, and sometimes they just want you to just, hey, dude, come, let's talk. What are they offering you? Let's have that conversation. But you're like, oh, you know what? What the hell? Go, HR, please get me a replacement.
Yeah.
Then you realize that it's difficult to replace this guy, and while you're trying to replace this guy, the thing that the guy has been holding together, So I always say to people that there are times where you watch a football match and you see the Ronaldo of this world, the Messi of this world. But there are some guys in there that, I'll give you an example. If you watch football, a guy called Makalele or Michael Essien, right? Or Michael Carrick. The 3 of them that I mentioned, there's something about them. None of them have won an award. None of them is celebrated. But every time each one of them left their club, for 4 or 5 years, they didn't get anything. You know why? Because they carry the weight while other people enjoy the glory. So like I sit in meetings and, oh, Dr. James say, oh, Larry. But deep down, I know there are some guys in my team who I rarely mention, who I don't even talk about, that these are the guys that if they are not there, I'm done. You get? So I now have learned to keep those guys, those quiet guys that don't talk much, but they know their stuff. You know, I would love to mention a couple of them just to give them some briefs, but then another bank might pick them up. So yeah, that's not going to happen. Yeah.
And what about your successes?
My successes. I think you saw one yesterday.
Yes.
You can make 90% or was it 99%
Yeah.
increase in profit if your systems aren't reliable, right? So we are not saying we are the best, you know, but we're saying that we've tried our best to make our system very good. The other thing that I think is my success is, I'll tell you this. When I left one of the bank I worked with in Nigeria, I had 6 people reporting to me. I was the CIO for the bank, and I had 6 people reporting to me. And the month I left that bank, 3 months later, the 6 of them were bank CIO for the same country. Right? So that means I trained, you know, 6 CIOs. So yeah, I feel proud of that, you know, when I go to Nigeria today, when I look at all the banks, you know, at least, you know, I can say a handful of them were people that I've worked with, my colleagues, you know, who have learned from and who have learned from me. So I think that might be my greatest win.
So what is it you think that makes Equity a formidable bank?
One, we have a visionary leader, and a lot of people, I've heard people in the grapevine say that, oh, without equity, without James, there is no equity. I shudder when I hear those things because, you know, he's been able to, over the years, build a very formidable team, right? For example, he's not in any of the group boards, right? So he has great guys who has worked with him, people like Polycarp Ngate, David Ngata, you know, great guys that, you know, very professional people in their own different area of specialty. Sam Gittin, you know, so we have, I can say largely, that when you talk about resource-based banking and all that, I think we have the largest pool of skills in Kenya. And I think that's one of the things that make Equity great. Another thing that makes us great is that we have a peculiar set of customers. And I say that with a lot of respect, right? So we had customers who were denied a banking service at some point in their lives. You know, I remember I was told that, you know, in Kenya at some point, banks like those, you know, other banks would not take your money. And then Equity decided to fix that problem.
Yeah.
You know, they came in and they fixed that problem. So there's a bond between the bank and the people. I'll give you another example. During the COVID period, right, I got a salary review.
Yeah.
And I'm well paid, if I may say. Yet I got a salary review when COVID was at the heart of it. At the heart of COVID, we got 14 CIOs. At the heart of COVID, we employed over 250 developers. You don't do that if you don't have a vision that you're so sure that, you know, can reign against all weathers. So that's what Equity is about. Equity is about longevity, is about, you know, believing people. Equity is about believing in the people. And I've worked in 4 banks, like I mentioned, even the largest in Africa, and none of them can boast to do as much socially as Equity does in all the countries in. You know, the bank educates about 1 million kids who normally would not have had a chance to go to university.
Yeah.
Send them to schools like Harvard and INSEAD. You know, honestly,
so it's not just a business, it has
yeah,
a social impact.
Exactly. And have you heard of Equity Afia?
Yes.
Our hospitals. You know, enough said, you know.
Well, thank you
You're most welcome, Carol.
very much. That was an interesting interview.
Thank you.
Yeah, you did great.
I appreciate it.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, there you had it. Maybe you can catch him golfing in another 3 years, or maybe not. But thank you so much for tuning in.
All right,
See you in the
thank
next episode.